What's up, my rebelicious people? How's everybody today? Kamari Yellis checking in with the Finance Rebel Show. Today's segment is Wealthy Wednesdays. We all know every Wednesday we do Wealthy Wednesdays where I answer your questions live from 8 p.m. until sometime in the future. Hopefully tonight we won't go too much longer than an hour because we have a special guest today, Miss Jasmine. I'm going to attempt to say your name right today. You're going to correct me if I'm wrong, though. So
Okay.
it's Jasmine Omarogbe.
Yes. Good job.
I got
Yes.
it.
On the first try.
I actually hate messing people's names up. I feel like I was a little bit off, but you let me go with it. But anyway, we're going to answer everybody's questions in the audience. But today I brought Jazz on, or Jasmine. I don't want to be too informal. I brought Jasmine on because Jasmine is something like a soothsayer. She can see the future, and she's been helping people find jobs and telling them how to redefine their future and letting them know that this future that we're in right now, this COVID era, because it's not the future, it's the present, you can still get a job and you can still get a good job. But there's some things you got to do. There's some work you got to do. It's not an easy thing. Like I said, you got to put some work into it, put some muscle into it. But, it can be done and it has been done for a lot of people. There are a lot of people out there hiring. So as I'm answering questions, we're going to get Jasmine in to talk about what people can do to get a good job. Maybe Jasmine can help me go get one of those good government jobs, get me 9 to 5, and get me some good old benefits. But I don't know if I'm actually employable at this point. But they say everybody's got a number, right? But how you doing today, Jazz?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, so let's make sure we do a good job of telling people what you do. So tell everybody what it is that you do.
Sure. So I am Jasmine Omarogbe, and I am a career strategist, which means I help people refresh their materials and rethink their job search strategy in order to follow their dreams. I also, even in addition to that, do graduate school. So if people want to apply, I help them with their personal statements, with getting their applications together, and making sure that they have a compelling application for graduate programs as well. So I'm here to help people follow their dreams through whatever means, whether it be education or career, helping people make sure that they're maximizing their gifts and talents.
Well, one of the reasons why I thought it'd be great to have you come on, because if anybody remembers and you watched the Wealthy Conversation show on Saturday, I had Jasmine on a few months ago. Definitely go check that one out. It's over on YouTube somewhere. I'll put it in the comment section at some point. But, I thought we had a great conversation in. And then there's so much job shaming that's going on these days. It's running rampant, and I think it's really, really stupid because it's amazing what you can learn by having a job. Now, yes, there are some toxic 9 to 5 environments that are terrible, but a lot of times there's also a lot of gems that can be learned for the right person that's willing to learn. I mean, I tell people all the time, Robert Smith, the richest black billionaire in the United States right now, had a job. And he also went to school and he went and got a good job. And that job then led him to become the richest man or the richest black man in the United States, actually one of the richest men in the United States, period. Oprah Winfrey had a job. I was talking to my homegirl, Courtney, today, who is the Ivy investor who many of you see when I do the Wealth Project or the Black Wealth Project on Sundays. Courtney's an attorney. And some of the things that she's been able to get exposure to and see has been because of her work. She wouldn't have been able to see it any other way because some of the places that she works in are not privy to your average everyday coming off the street individual. So, I think we need to rethink some of the things that we repeat, some of the things that we share, like jobs are bad and nobody got rich by having a job. I think we need to do that. But I also believe we can talk about other ways of increasing our wealth potential by increasing our income. And many of us that do have 9 to 5 jobs, most of us, I feel, are sitting on untapped income potential. And so the more income you have, the more you can invest, the more you can save, the more you can pay down debt, the more you can just leverage life overall. So that's why I wanted to bring Jazz on. But before we get into everything real quick, do me a favor, everybody, share this out. Share it out with everybody. Everybody needs a job. Everybody needs to make more money. So do me a favor, share this out, and let's check in with everybody. Tiffany Thompson, how are you? Good evening, good evening. Miss Edith, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Jazz just said, where's Miss Edith at? We're not going live today on Instagram. She's not going to be able to find you. That's important. I said, no, she'll find me on good
YouTube.
On YouTube or Facebook. Jay Phillips, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tiffany, thank you again. Tiffany, I am most humbled and honored that you always share my stuff. I appreciate you. Tara Townsend said the post office is hiring. Yes, they are. Now, did you see that on my personal post? I just shared that. I just shared the post office is hiring. And it was funny. I've been sitting around here singing Biggie, like, don't be mad, UPS is hiring, but I can't figure out how to make it say USPS and make it sound as cool as Biggie. So that ain't gonna happen. But yes, the post office is hiring. It's very seasonal, right? They tend to ramp up over Christmas time or the holiday season. Lots of parcels are being sent out. You'll see FedEx, you'll see UPS begin to hire as well if they already haven't to doing that. Adrian Anderson, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Al Black, what's up, Al? It was good seeing you the other day over at Dave Sims. Shout out to Dave Sims, Eatable Delights, the Black catering maestro of the city of Philadelphia. So we're talking today about questions that we always have. So listen, anybody that has a question about money, put it in the chat. We'll get to it. And in between those questions, I want to sit here and talk to Jasmine. So Jasmine, how can I get a great job? How can I get one of those 6-figure jobs with good benefits and free food at the campus and all that?
Well, you have to do a couple different things. The first thing is getting your mind right, because it takes work. I think sometimes we see, and to your point about job shaming, I think there's a lot of hate about jobs because I think a lot of people don't enjoy their jobs. They don't like what they're doing. So if you feel like you have to get up and you dread where you're going every day, of course, no one wants to do that specific thing forever. But there are plenty of people out there like me who love their jobs. Like, I love my 9 to 5. It has afforded me so many opportunities, so many places that I can now invest where I did not have the dispensable income to do so before. So I think in terms of getting a great job, the first thing is having your mindset and knowing that it's work, right? You're not just going to sit at home. You're not just going to keep doing the same things you've been doing and land this amazing job all of a sudden, but getting ready. So mentally saying, okay, here's what I want. And then starting with an assessment. Here's what I want. Here's where I am, right? And then looking at what has to happen to get you from point A to point D in that case. And thinking about, well, what skills do I need? Who do I need to meet? Who do I need to connect with so I can get to where I want to be in terms of that job? So first, starting out with that skills assessment is number one, because if you look at the job boards, there are tons of jobs. It's a question of, do you want to be a consultant? Do you want to be a post office person? Do you want to work at McDonald's? Like, if you don't know what you want to do, then you'll spend a lot of time spinning your wheels or looking and applying for everything. And that's
I think Jasmine froze. She was on a run too. Hopefully she'll get her internet back together real quick. But anyway,
that's where I think you have to start.
Wait a minute, Jasmine, you froze for like 30 seconds.
Did I?
Yep.
Okay.
We got a great screenshot of you. You'll love
it. Give me 1 second.
So Adrian asked, what's a good part-time? Good. So Adrian asked, what's a good part-time position?
So I think it
means something.
Work from home.
See, thank you.
So it's for Adrian. I guess it would depend on Adrian's skill set and what she likes to do. What things, there's things that you can do customer service from home. You can do things in the tech space at home. You can do. It just depends kind of on what your skill set. If there's comments or something, I'd love to hear more about what Adrian's looking for. But there's a ton of places that are hiring where you can just answer the phone. As long as you have a reliable internet and things like that, you can do that kind of stuff.
I mean, what's a good place to look for stuff like that?
So looking at a lot of it depends on the industry, right? But you still have your monster.com, your indeeds.com, Glassdoor, those sorts of places. But like, for example, for higher ed, there's higheredjobs.com. If you want a job in education, you can go to edsurge.com. So it kind of also depends on your industry, but all of the places that you would look, or also going to the company. If you know you want to work for Amazon, then go to amazon.com and then find their careers page is what you would do. But all of the job boards, if you search for work from home positions, you'll see a ton of different job boards that'll pop up, and then you can go through and look from there.
So, all right. So I'm going to go to Indeed and I'm going to pull up work from home. And let's just peruse a couple of those real quick while everybody is joining in. Listen, while you're watching, do me a favor, put your questions in the chat. We got Jasmine here. Jasmine is worth $1 billion worth of information, y'all. She's here. Leverage it. Take time. I think that's one of the things many of us don't do often enough. We don't leverage the situations that we have ready access to. So y'all know every week I try to bring value. I try to bring something good as it relates to money, making money, investments, saving on taxes. And Jasmine's here. She has a proven track record of helping people get jobs. So put your questions in the chat. So right now I'm pulling up Indeed, and I just put in WFH. I learned a new internet slang today. And so it pulled up these work from home jobs. So we have like a medical claims specialist. I guess you probably need to have good data entry and good typing skills. Online K through 12 teacher. God, I feel sorry for anybody who has to do that. I don't know how you keep children occupied like this. And some of the horror stories I've seen from some of these Zoom sessions that are floating around the internet. I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people do it. But so online teacher, English transcriber, customer service. You talked about customer service, omni interactions, licensed behavioral health therapist. So I guess that's some type of counseling. Insurance follow-up specialist. So I guess that might be underwriting or something like that. Customer service, again, client patient advocate. So this is interesting.
Yeah. While you're doing that, let me go back to the teaching position real quick. God bless all people in education, first of all. But second of all, VIP Kid, there's a couple companies that like VIP Kid where people are able to teach English to children in China or in other countries. Now, of course, because of the time difference, you may have to wake up super early because you might be teaching at 5 or 6 a.m., but they do pay pretty well. And so if you are good at speaking English and you are interested in communicating with children over Zoom or some other computer platform, that's a nice way to make some money because you set your own schedule. You determine how much you work. And of course, you work from home. So teaching English is another option, but it's not necessarily like teaching a classroom full of kids like a lot of our educators are doing right now.
So do you need a degree to do that? Do you need an English degree? What like?
No, you don't need an English degree. You need to speak English. I'm sure there's some tests or assessments. I haven't gone through the process myself, but I have several friends who do it. And it's from what I understand, it's pretty easy because you're teaching children who are younger. So usually, as long as you know nouns and verbs, that's what you don't get into the complicated stuff. Yeah, VIP.
So I probably wouldn't be good for that job.
No comment, Kamari.
I just figured out what an adjective was like a few years ago. So.
Ooh, you might have to brush up. That's all. That's what. Look, let's talk about that because a lot of times people say I don't know how to do something, but we live in the information age. If there's something you do not know, you can know it, right? And you can study.
I agree.
Before you have to take the test.
I always say, these things are our best friends. We have these super brains in our pockets, and a lot of times we are afraid to use them. So everything's Googleable. So if you don't know something, you definitely can do it. Figure it out, that is.
Right.
So, all right. So thank you, Tiffany. Tiffany knew what I was thinking. She's trying to help me out with my lackingness. Kurt, I always have a hard time saying his name. I didn't know that was you. I didn't know it was a lady either. Well, thank you for joining us. Welcome. We've been on IG together for a while. I'm glad to finally be able to put a face with the name. We talked about what last week, Tiffany? Work from home? Hi, Jackie. How are you? I appreciate you being here as well. Absolutely. Something easy like data entry. I'm just looking for something extra. My 9 to 5 is telecom. All right. Well, we'll go back to Indeed and we'll put a search in at some point real quick. So just hang on with us. Oh, and by the way, everybody, I have some good news that I'm going to share with you all towards the end of the segment. So once we get towards the end of the show, I definitely will share it all with you.
That's exciting.
Okay. So Tiffany Thompson says, question, what's the best way to move up in a company when you don't have a degree, but will have the skill set and have done it before?
Sure. So it's a great question. Sometimes we don't necessarily have the credentials or the requirements that are listed on paper. My number one recommendation or way to get around that is to get a mentor, right? Or to make friends with some of the recruiters or the hiring manager. Networking is going to be typically the answer to everything, because even if a position requires X, Y, and Z, if the hiring manager knows you, they know what you can do, they know you have the capacity or the potential to do it, a lot of times they can throw those things out the window. They can create a new position for you. So there's a couple options. Number one, I think start networking. So to find out who is the hiring manager or who are the recruiters that work to put people in those positions. The second thing you can do is to build those skills. If you want to get a degree, like you can always, of course, go back to school, get a certificate in something within that industry or within that area, or even take an online course or something to show, hey, I don't have this formal degree, but I have been doing X, Y, and Z to gain that knowledge, right? And I know that you may have it from experience, but taking even more courses or things like that is going to supplement your level of experience and what you can show on paper. So I do think networking, going to get that experience, but really just showing people what you know. And so it's not like who you know or what you know, it's who knows what you know. So if the hiring manager knows, hey, Tiffany's really great at this thing, even though she doesn't have this degree right now, I know she can do this job, then they're going to move you to the front or the top of the list, right? But if they don't know you, if you just look like every other candidate and they're comparing one resume to your resume and this person has the degree, then of course that person's going to have the upper hand. But if they know you and they know what you know and how good you are, then they may be able to make a different decision. So I would encourage finding mentors, networking, and then getting that additional supplemental education if possible.
Now you bring up networking, right? And I know what you mean, but I just want to make it uber clear for all those who are watching now and who will watch in the replay. When we talk about networking, we want to be really, really proactive with networking, correct? And we don't just want to wait until we're looking for a job to begin to network. Am I right in that assumption?
Absolutely. You should always be doing it. And by networking, what I mean is reaching out to people. So if Tiffany already works in the company and she wants to move up in that specific company, well, finding people, looking in the directory, seeing what the people's titles are, meeting people in whatever project she's doing, but reaching out and saying, hey, can I have 20 minutes? I just want to get to know you a little bit better. Or I just want to get to know what your role comprises of. I know I want to move up, but I'm not quite sure where. So asking people for a little bit of their time is a great way to get the foot in the door so that, of course, even if you schedule a 20-minute meeting, you can always schedule a follow-up. Or if you start to build rapport, you start to build trust, they like you, they might say, hey, next time an opportunity comes up, oh, you know what? Tiffany was really good at that. We talked about that. And then they'll slot you in, right? Whereas naturally, it might have taken you forever to come into contact with that person or to get that opportunity. So proactively reaching out, asking people questions about who they are and what their experiences are, and taking an interest in them. And that will get people so much further than just trying to submit those resumes and hoping to move up in a company.
And I'll say this as well. A lot of times, especially some of your bigger jobs will have clubs. For example, I know Toastmasters is at a lot of places. And so you can kill two birds with one stone. You could work in your public speaking. By the way, most people are afraid of public speaking. Public speaking is probably the best ROI. When I say ROI, return on investment skill you could have. It's investing time in becoming a better speaker and a better writer, better communicator overall, because the better you can communicate, the better job or business or money opportunity you can seize upon. But going back to my original point, take advantage of like some of these clubs. So like I was saying, Toastmasters is at some big major corporations. They'll have clubs there. You can meet other people from other departments in those clubs. So don't just seek, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Jasmine, don't just seek to try to network with people who are decision makers in terms of jobs. Oftentimes you can meet regular everyday line people, but they still may have a good rapport with the hiring manager and they can make a recommendation. Because a lot of times if they know the job and they know who you are and what your skill set is, they may recommend you, or you can then ask at a later time after you have deepened the relationship. You can ask them, is the department hiring? And they'll be your biggest advocate. They'll be your own personal cheerleader.
Right. So let me chat about that for two different reasons. One is I think there is so much value in networking or connecting with people laterally on your same level. So your peers, because your peers may be your manager one day, right? We hope you're the manager, but they may also be your manager. You never know when people retire, when people leave, people get promoted, right? So you want to make sure that you are working with those who are next to you and those who may be higher up than you in the company as well. But never forget who's to your right and to your left, which I always talk about. Issa Rae is really big on that. Like, no, I'm bringing my friends. I'm going to employ and give money and give jobs and opportunities to the people who were with me shooting in the gym, the people who have been by my side. So I would never forsake the importance of networking laterally. And then the second thing, Kamar, to your point, timing is everything. So I don't approve or I don't encourage people to network in a transactional way. So it's not just, hey, are y'all hiring? Hey, can I get a job? Hey, this like you. And that's one of the reasons why it's important to be networking all of the time, because people can sense if you always come to someone with your hand out, people aren't going to respond well to that. Or they know, okay, now I have a position open. Here comes such and such. She always come whenever I got a position open. No, you want to be building rapport, creating that foundation, giving and receiving. I think it's very important to say, hey, here's what I have to offer. I'm always personally, I offer people, hey, how can I be a resource for you? Or after they may give me 20 to 30 minutes of their time, I'll send them a $5 or $7 Starbucks gift card. Hey, thanks for your time. I just really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me or share your insights with me. I want to show some sort of token of appreciation or way or token of thanks to them. So whatever you may have to offer, it may be something that they need right now, or they may need down the road, right? Because mentorship doesn't just work one way. It's going to be, so if it is a mentor, you have something to offer them as well. But if it's just someone who maybe you have more to gain than them at this time, just know that down the road, you may need to offer them a favor or you may need to do a nice gesture for them. But I don't encourage just kind of, hey, what can you do for me type of networking. I think people can sense that. It feels inauthentic. It doesn't feel good, right? It's not a give and take. So I would also always encourage you to think about what resources you have access to, how you can put someone else on. Either you pay it forward or back to that person who you've been working with as well.
I agree. Great stuff. It's funny just to kind of piggyback on your transactional networking. I'll give you an example. I would go to networking events all the time years ago, and people would give out their cards to everybody. You know, I call it carjacking, but I never understood that, because what I always saw is when people were done, they would just throw the cards away. And so that always told me that people really don't value cards. And even to this day, I see people talking about, oh, you need cards, you need cards. What type of professional are you if you need cards? Or if you don't have cards? I notoriously don't have cards for whatever reason. We're in a tech age though, right? Yeah. And I was also taught not to give cards, but to get cards. And once you get the cards, follow up with them. Because it's all about the follow up. But I say all that to say is that, you know, a lot of people I go to these networking events, they say they gave out all these cards and they didn't get any business. And I said, well, one, it doesn't work like that. Relationships are a natural thing. It's just like the first time you meet a young lady, she might not want to go out on a date with you. But once you build a rapport, things might change. So I always kind of, you know, just say be patient and then offer value some kind of way. You don't have to give them $1 million. But if you offer value in some kind of way, like you said, a small token of appreciation, or even just offering, you'd be surprised how far that goes. You'd be surprised how far that goes.
Right.
So there's a couple of questions in here. Let me get to them. All right. So Jackie says, I'm interested in research and investigative part-time. All right. English as a second language. All right, so I'm going to pull up Indeed again, and we'll do a quick search. But listen, We're showing you guys where to go. So after I do it, you'll have 2 examples. And guess what? I'm going to expect you guys to do it. I am not a crutch. All right. Um, Listen, for us to become more independent and be able to take advantage of these situations that come up, we got to be able to do it on our own, folks. So, and again, Jackie, I know you're not saying that because you're lazy, because I know you're not lazy. Don Johnson, how are you? How are you? How are you? Ms. Edith says mentors are greatest asset. Tiffany says awesome networking classes. Yeah. Keep sharpening your skills. Hey, Angela, love networking. And believe it or not, folks, this is a form of networking. I've seen Miss Edith working the comments, reaching out to people, following people on social media, following up with them, and I'm here for all that. I will just ask kindly, please don't spam people with your goods and services before you get to know them. That's all I ask, because they're gonna be like, "I met you on Kamari's show." And then they're gonna start to associate me with the spammers, and we don't need that, y'all. I'm trying to keep my name in good tact. Mm-hmm. Yes, Miss Edith, I thought about LeBron when she talked about Issa as well. I think LeBron James and Issa Rae are wonderful examples of working, and I call it empowering lateral, because what LeBron did is sure magic. First of all, the man was slated to be a failure from jump. Been in trouble, didn't have a stable home life, and here's this guy whose first contract out of high school, I want to say, was $100 million with Nike. So everybody thought LeBron was going to mess up. Guess what? He didn't. Same girlfriend, his high school sweetheart is now his wife. He has kids. No smut on his jacket, as us young folks say, or no bad tarnishes on his reputation. Right. So it's amazing what you can do when you work lateral. And he not built, but he helped all his boys make a difference in their life, and they all did. Right. So I haven't talked about this in a while, but I always say, why are you qualified for this subject, to talk about this subject, to work in this subject or this area? And so with LeBron, again, which I thought was brilliant, some of his guys went to college and they became qualified to work in the fields that they're working in. Like if you look at Maverick Carter, what he's doing, I mean, and he has another friend who is a sports agent. I can't think of his name, but his sports agent friend changed the game. They actually created a rule where they said sports agents had to go to college or something crazy. I can't think of the rule, but you had to go to college in order to be a sports agent, just because he was killing the game so much with those guys. So again, Issa, I love Insecure. If you look at the work she did with the Adventures of the Awkward Black Girl, she invested in herself first. She developed skills first. And then, like Jasmine said, she brought her friends along. But the friends had to do work too, right? So keep that in mind, right? Again, there's no free rides. Everybody got work. If we at the table, right, I always use this analogy. If we at the table, everybody got to bring a piece of chicken, or everybody got to bring a chicken and a vegetable, or everybody got to bring some water. You can't just bring chips, though.
Right.
You got to bring some substance, right? Some real food. All right. You know what, Miss Edith, did I talk about that one? Yes. There is power in free. I actually say that all the time. Miss Edith, did you get that from me? But no, I mean, I've had some knockdown, drag out fights with people, and they always say, well, I don't want to work for free. I have value. Now, mind you, these are people who have not done their due diligence. They have not paid their dues. They don't have a portfolio of any kind of work. They don't have a demonstration of any kind of work. I'm saying, listen, you have to figure out some way to do this. Why would I take a chance on you and I don't know you? There has to be an even value exchange. And no, I am not trying to promote people being taken advantage of or being used or oppressed in any way, shape, or form. However, I am saying that some of the best relationships that I have came as a result of me working free and volunteering somewhere. I'm giving you, matter of fact, I just got off the phone because I'm going to do a special interview on Friday with someone that is a pretty well-to-do person in media in Philadelphia. They actually run a big station, and I made a phone call, but I met them because I volunteered in an organization here called PABJ, which stands for Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists. So I get to make relationships with other people. It's a lot of work at times, though. A lot of work, and I'm working for free. But guess what? Now I get to, pull the reciprocity card. Hey, I want to talk about this, and I think you'd be a great resource for my audience. All right. So listen, on Friday at noon, I expect y'all to be here. Check it out. Help me promote it. But we're going to be talking about how Black businesses can get better media placement. That's going to be the topic for Friday. And we're seeing Black businesses getting media exposure now because of everything that's going on. A lot of businesses are pandering, so it's become easier. But this time is going to shift, and so I want folks to be able to capitalize on this time and be prepared when this time is over, because sadly it will be over at some point. So let's see, what else do we have? I'm going
wait. Before you move on, may I add to the point about free and volunteering?
Yes.
Well, thank you. So a couple different things. One is I would never want folks to forget the power of bartering. So it doesn't necessarily even have to be for free, but hey, you do this skill, I do this skill, let's switch, right? We're not going to exchange any money, but we're going to both give of our time and talent to make each other better. So don't forget, like, you can do something for somebody and ask them for something in return. And the other thing too is, I know with volunteering, sometimes people say, I don't have the time to do that. I can't volunteer once a week or whatever else. Know that you don't have to volunteer for a long-term commitment. You could say, hey, I'm going to volunteer for this small business, just like Kamari's talking about. Hey, Black business in Philly, can I build you a website? Hey, can I start your Instagram? Hey, can I do this for you? Or can I, administratively get you set up with something? You can do project-based volunteering. So it's not a commitment for the rest of your life. It's for the time of this project. And you can say, I have 2 hours a week to dedicate to this. And if they're a small business, or if they really need the assistance, or you can show them like, hey, I've been to your website, you're missing out on money. And then you can make a case for why they need you. You're going to even be more valuable to them. They're not going to turn you down, but you're getting website building experience or social media experience or whatever else that is. So don't forget that you can also just volunteer for a specific project, or say, hey, this is a 3-month thing. Here's the time that I have for the next 3 months. I want to do X, Y, and Z for you. And I'd love to get this experience to put on my resume, or just to get me to new opportunities in the future as well. So those are some other ways that we can think or shift our mindset around volunteering. It doesn't always have to be for free. And even if it is for free, like Kamari said, you're still benefiting. You're getting experience. You're learning how to do something that maybe you wanted to get better at, or something that you didn't know how to do at all in the beginning.
And I'll share this because you just prompted me, right? There was a point where I was actually thinking about getting away from financial services and investments and taxes. And I was going to start a digital marketing agency, because anybody that knows me knows I really love the idea of social. Kind of fell in love with social media around Arab Spring. Actually, I got tricked to be on Facebook, y'all. But after I saw Arab Spring, light bulb went off and said, man, this can be very, very powerful. And I understand the power of email. I understand the power of social media and all that. So what I did was, when I was thinking about this, is that I offered to do a couple of projects for folks, got their video done, had a couple of people websites done. They made money almost instantaneously off of my ideas, and it worked well. I had clients. I did it all for free, just to test it out, just to build the portfolio. Then I decided to double down on my business and say, that's where I really feel I can add the most value. I thought marketing would help me make the most money, though. So that's why I was thinking about it. And I do enjoy it. I do enjoy marketing. You'll see more things from me, and I still may do it sometime later, but I did it for free, and I help a lot of Black businesses make money just from doing that alone. So there's nothing wrong with free. But Jazz, that was great, because you're right. Bartering with the right people can work really well. Just be careful, because sometimes people don't understand what true value exchange is. But I do think it's a great idea with the right people. So a couple more, and I'll get to Indeed shortly. Token of appreciation, yes, ma'am. Don't just take. Yeah, yes. Nobody likes a taker. Yes, the business cards, even in the club. Yeah. Yeah, people be giving business cards out in the club. I mean, listen, you can take your business cards to the club if you're using it strategically. So I was just commenting on English as a second language, not interested in this. Oh, got you. Thank you, Jackie. All right, Miss Edith says The Power of Free by Kamari. Big Mama taught me that though. Yeah, Big Mama was smart. Yeah, The Power of Free. I never thought about. Maybe I'll write a book about that.
Never too late.
Melody, how are you? Thank you for joining. I think this is your first time joining, Melody. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Rhonda Cox, thank you for joining. I don't think I've seen you in a couple of weeks, Rhonda. You've been missed. Glad you're here tonight. And Miss Edith says bartering is good, but free, my cup runneth over. Sometimes people really don't have. Matter of fact, I just realized one of the people who I had the conversation of free with, and I had it with Miss Edith. But Miss Edith knows I'm not making this up, right? So, my man from Fatherhood, how you doing, Fatherhood? I'm guessing that's Jimmy. Here to help fight the algos. Yes, please, folks, help me fight the algos. Right? Those people are against us sharing good information. They're against us uplifting our communities with great financial education. So do me a favor, share this out. Remember, the Finance Rebel Show is all about increasing financial IQ. So share this out with somebody who's one, looking to increase their financial IQ, and two, with someone who's looking to get a job or a better job in the very near future. So, all right, let's go back to Indeed real quick, because I just want to do a search and see what happens when we put in those other topics.
Mm-hmm. Or you can just Google. It doesn't even have to be Indeed. If you just Google jobs in English, teaching English or whatever else, like you don't even have to know a website. If you just Google it, you will see tons of job boards and postings.
All right, let's do that. That's a great idea. So, all right, so what was it? Job boards?
Well, no. Well, are we looking for teaching English jobs or not?
Yeah, we can do English.
Teaching English online.
Yeah, I just did English online or English abroad. I actually know someone who does teach English abroad too. They were just in China, and I think they are in either Africa or the Middle East now. I'm not sure.
There's a lot of value by going abroad. Let's just plug that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of value by going abroad. Absolutely. So we have Preply, I guess that's how they pronounce it. Bridge, Indeed, VIP Kid, Language Teacher, Online Teachings by Simple International. Okay, 8 amazing companies to teach English online. Let's click on that real quick. Article just came out October 16th. So, I didn't see the one. Am I missing something? Alrighty. Oh, be fluent. Okay, 2 things to do before you apply for online job. Be fluent in English and hold a bachelor's degree. So, Jazz, you said a lot of times you don't have to have a bachelor's degree, though, right?
Well, see, that first line says, well, there's a select number of online teaching companies that don't require a degree, that green link. So if you don't have a degree, you could check out those. That should be an article if you click on it or a link to something.
Well, I didn't want to go away. I'll come back to it as soon as we get done. And you just proved that reading is fundamental. Because I didn't see it. So make a list of online teaching jobs must have. So eight of the best online teaching companies to work. Is that Schooly or Scully?
Schooly, I think.
Schooly, okay. VIP Kid, Dada, Q Kids, iTutor Group, Go Kid, Wales English, and English Hunt. Okay. All right, now let's go here. So you got options. You don't just have to have a degree. How to get a job teaching English online without a degree. So I'm going to put these in the chat, in the comments. So if you guys know anybody who may possibly benefit from any of this, please share it with them and let them know where you got it from. All right. So thank you, Angela. I appreciate you sharing. You always share. You, Miss Edith, Tiffany, you always share. I see Don's on here. I know Don always shares as well. He was connect. We always discuss free. I feed my entire community. Just give cake away this morning to my hood. All right, good. So now you gave cake away. Now when you gonna put an offer out for them to buy it? So you've done the groundwork.
Is Miss Edith in Philly? Because I like cake.
No, Miss Edith is in the 718 up in New York.
Oh, okay.
It's either 718 or 212. Thank you, Ms. Jackie. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate you. So anybody else have any other questions about working abroad, working online? Buddy questions? Anybody see what's going on with PayPal today? They said they're going to adopt Bitcoin. So all my Bitcoin lovers out there, I know y'all happy about that. But go ahead while we got Jasmine. We can talk about a couple things. And of course, again, I'm here, little old me, to answer any other questions.
Can we talk about networking virtually real quick while we're in this virtual space?
Just do it. You don't have to ask.
What's your show? You know, I want to get kicked off your show.
You're a guest.
All right, Kamari, let's talk about networking virtually.
Okay.
Just because I know we mentioned networking events earlier, and I want to point out that I personally am not a big fan of networking events where you walk into a room and everybody, like you said, has cards. But even in those type of spaces, I think that one thing people can do to maximize on any opportunity with networking is do your research. So when you're walking into a room full of people, let's say in the future when COVID is not as pressing as it is right now, if you're going to a networking event or a career fair, doing research beforehand to say, okay, there's 25 people in this room. I really need to talk to this person and that person because I have this to offer to them, or I need XYZ from them, or I'd love to talk to them more about whatever. You don't have to go around passing cards to every single person in the space. You can be doing research so that you know who you need to talk to and what you need to do. That way you can get in and get out and be efficient with that. But also know that there may be other people after you meet the two people that you wanted to get talked to. You may talk to other people who you didn't know were going to be there, or people who you didn't expect, who have something to exchange with you or to learn, or where you can learn from them also. But in the Zoom space, since we're doing a lot of that right now, I have made some good friends over the past few months just on Zoom webinars where we were both participants, and they might have saw my name and said, hey, you know, you're Nigerian, I can tell. And then we go into a separate chat, and now like we're hanging out and going to coffee or doing other things. There are some people who are doing real estate, and we're both in the same real estate webinar. And it's like, hey, can anybody who's new, you know, raise your hand in Zoom, or, you know, put something in the chat. And then afterwards, I take down their name. I might go on LinkedIn, connect with them, and then I'm going to ask for that. Hey, do you have 20 minutes? I'm trying to buy a house. Can you teach me what you did or what pitfalls I should avoid when I'm doing it? That sort of thing. So don't think that just because we're in this virtual space that you can't kind of like walk up to somebody, you know, and you don't have to know them. It doesn't have to be a prerequisite of having a pre-relationship, but people are generally pretty open to helping other people. Right. So if people ask me, hey, I want to do what you're doing, it's somewhat flattering, right, for me to say, oh, let me teach you. So it feels good for me to be giving back in some capacity, but it also is not that much of my time, especially virtually. I'm not going to use my gas. I don't have to get in my car and drive somewhere to meet somebody. I have 20 minutes. I have 30 minutes. So I've been really big on doing those sorts of experiences, which are technically called informational interviews. So an informational interview is when you are going to chat with someone about something. And it's not an interview where you're being interviewed for a job and they're asking you the questions. You're coming prepared. You're asking them about their experience. Maybe it's where they work or the type of job they have or the place they live in. I've done informational interviews before I moved to Philly. I found people who lived in Philly and said, hey, what's it like? Where should I live? You know, what are the restaurants you like? I was just gathering information that was going to help my experience be better. So you can do informational interviews across the board. And even if you take it further to think about it, when we look at reviews of places, we're really seeking that same information. Hey, I know you went to this restaurant, this Quality Taste, Black-owned restaurant. Did you like it? What did you order? Like those sorts of things that we're looking for when we read reviews are the same things that we're looking for when we do informational interviews. But you're also getting the information. And more importantly, you're building the connection so that in the future, you can maybe in a couple months, check back in on that person. Hey, I know we had a great conversation. Just wanted to check in, see how you were doing. You know, or you might send them an article or something that you found or something from the news that might interest them. So another piece of doing informational interviews is cultivating it, keeping it going, not just saying, hey, we met, we had a good time 2 years ago. you might need to do some little, drop some little crumbs and say, hey, let me check in. Let me genuinely care about this person. Because again, we don't want that networking to be transactional. You want to continue it and show that you're invested in the relationship as well. So just wanted to add, Kamari, that networking doesn't have to be in person. It's easy to find people on LinkedIn who are in the field you want to be in and just send them a message. And you may send 10 messages and get 9 no's and 1 yes. And that 1 yes could be the company you're working for in 5 years. Like, who even knows? But it's worth it to try.
And, I know everybody loves LinkedIn because they feel LinkedIn is the professional platform. But a lot of the things you just proposed can be done on Facebook and Instagram. Absolutely. Or anywhere else. I get people that reach out to me sometimes on Facebook and on Instagram. I will say this, though. If you're just trying to sell me something,
oh no.
Yeah, I'm not the guy to reach out to. I mean, I'm always pleasant and cordial, but some people just want to sell me, and like, I don't even know them. I don't know what they're selling. I don't know what it is. By the way, if any MLM people are watching, don't bother to inbox me, please. I'm already into what I'm doing. I don't need another money-making opportunity. It seems like their scripts are always the same. So if I would be like the sales trainer for an MLM corporation, I would say just talk to people like regular human beings, because everybody knows your sales script. Hey, are you looking for a new opportunity to make money? And when I say no, I say, oh, you're not interested in making money. Dude, I've heard this a million times. No, leave me alone. So, but in all seriousness, folks, just be human and reach out to folks, but do it with real human concern, like real concern, and be nice. Well, not be nice. If you're not nice, don't be nice, right? If you're evil, just stay evil, right? Yeah. But no, in all seriousness, right? Just be a person and just reach out and say, hey, I'm trying to figure XYZ out. It really is that simple. And don't be afraid to do it. And like Jasmine said, if you reach out to 10 and you only get 1 back, you're actually doing great. And by the way, they may miss it, so don't take it personal. Mm-hmm. So if they don't get to you within, everybody now, since we text, if you don't text in like 0.5 seconds, they feel that you slighted them. Those folks are losers. Delete them off your list. But again, in seriousness, if they don't get back to you right away, just give them time. Have grace for everybody, y'all. And just know that maybe they just didn't have a chance to get to it. Maybe they didn't have time to get to it. Remember, you're not entitled to anybody's time. You're not entitled to anybody's time. They are blessing you with their time. So be thankful for it. All right. So what else we got going on in here? I see my man, my other Wichita connections in the house. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Thank you for joining. Rhonda Cox says, who is hiring proctors? Okay, I'll pull that up.
I love it.
And listen, that's a great way to make a segue and to meet somebody. If you do something really, really well and you give it away for free, it's sold. As long as it's good. I know everybody thinks their stuff's good. And that's an issue too. We probably should do a show on that at some point. But, just remember, if your stuff's really good, you're going to make that person feel really good. What's the famous, what is her name? The lady that made, I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. Maya Angelou. So she always says, people always remember how you made them feel.
Right.
I know that the quote is a little bit deeper, but the thing I always take away is people always remember how you made them feel. It's not about the money or gifts. It's really about the connection and the feeling. So, if you give something of you that you made with love, you can use that as a segue to build a relationship. Mm-hmm. And again, it doesn't have to be $1 gazillion, folks.
Right.
Okay, so Miss Edith asked this question for you. I have questions about working online. My background is human services, and I am currently employed. I have been looking for jobs, but salaries are not commensurate with my salary.
So those are not the jobs.
Right.
Those are not the jobs that match your level of experience. So I would say maybe you need to look at different organizations. Or maybe you need to start networking. So someone says, wow, Miss Edith has the skills. We got to have her and we got to pay her what she wants, no matter what, that sort of thing. You can network across your industry or your field too. But I would never recommend, especially if you are employed and it's not a very hostile or toxic situation, I would never, unless at very rare cases would I say you would take a pay cut to go somewhere. There are instances where I do think it makes sense, but you have to think about your financial life and all of those things. But sometimes, in some rare cases, a pay cut might leapfrog you to where you want to be if you're needing certain experience or you need to get your foot in the door. But generally, I don't believe in going backwards, right? So maybe you need to either look at rethinking some of your strategy or the places you're looking or the titles, maybe the position. Maybe you take your background in human services and you look for a specific title that you haven't maybe had before, because those jobs may pay more. Or you may need to think about relocating or doing those sorts of things. So I guess if you're not seeing what you're looking for, we got to either keep looking or change the strategy. What do you think, Kamara? You look like you got a thought.
I have a couple of thoughts. I mean, my one thought is, Ms. Edith, why are you looking for a job, right? What are you not satisfied in the position you're currently in right now? Do you feel like you have not, or you're not challenged? You know, what's the deal? Why do you feel that way? Is it a toxic environment? Because I do believe no matter the pay, nobody should subject themselves to toxic environments, because toxic environments kill you, like
Right.
literally. So I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do that. But I am curious to know what you're looking for, Ms. Edith. And is it money? So she says, COVID is toxic, overwhelming, thinking of a pay cut. Don't want to. So you want to get ahead of the curve. Got you. You want to get ahead of the curve, Ms. Edith. I get it. Well, the one thing I would also say, if they're thinking about pay cuts, and y'all know I say this all the time, please save some money. If you are saving, great, save more. If the cuts are coming, you're not saving, save more. At the end of the day, you can never go wrong with saving more. All right, especially in these uncertain times. All right, so Ms. Edith wants to know, what flavors do you like?
Look, Ms. Edith, I will DM you after this because I love pound cake, vanilla.
What's your specialty, Ms. Edith? All right, so Angela says, "Hey, Kamara, do you?" Oh, hey, Jasmine. I'm sorry, I'm thinking I'm Jasmine now. Hey, Jasmine, do you have 15 minutes to share with me about what do I miss the beginning of this virtual networking show? Hey, Angela, you could always watch the replay.
But also, Angela, I have a website, JasmineOMO.com. That's JasmineOMO.com. And I'm a career strategist, so I'm helping people with thinking about their job search strategy, but also doing things like coaching people around resumes, cover letters, how to refresh their materials, and then again, where and how to look for jobs. But yes, I'm always happy to chat with you for those 15 minutes as well.
And what is your website again, Jasmine? What?
www.jasmine, JasmineOMO.com.
Okay, just wanted to make sure we got that for the record.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yes.
All right, so what other questions do we have here? Anybody else have anything else? And I'm going to put Jasmine's website up on the screen so folks can know how to reach out to her to have that 20-minute, 15-minute conversation.
Thank you, Kamari.
Is my spelling correct?
Yes, you got it.
I told y'all my grammar ain't that great. And if you know my grammar is not that great, my spelling is not going to be that great. I find myself, and I don't know if I'm alone. Y'all tell me if I'm alone in this. I find myself having to think about like simple words, like if they're spelled right, like sane. The other day, I think I spent 20 minutes trying to think about how to spell hour. So I'm like, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right.
Where's your phone, Kamari? Where's the phone? You said there's all the powers in the phone.
Phone's here. But even sometimes I'll see it, it's spelled autocorrect. Oh, by the way, autocorrect is the devil, but that's a whole other thing. But autocorrect, sometimes I'm looking, I'm like, that don't make sense. That don't look right. But I don't know. Y'all tell me if it's me. Y'all tell me if it's me.
Right. Well, look, while we're here, let's talk about spelling and let's talk about proofreading, because I would be remiss if I talked to Kamari and I did not talk about resumes, because that's my thing right there. So when you are doing your resumes, have a friend look over it. have someone else in the field look over it and ensure that you do not have these typos. So if the word same looks weird to you today, have somebody else look at your materials, because a lot of times when we are coming from the communities that I'm from, right, we don't have a lot of second chances, third chances. We need our stuff to be crisp and on point from the jump, right? So I think having a 1 to 2 page resume that is easily digestible. If you imagine that someone's going to take 6 seconds to look at it, in those 6 seconds, are you capturing their attention? Are you showing them that you are the best candidate for the job? Are you seeming interesting enough that they want to have a conversation with you and bring you in for an interview? Are your experiences quantified? And we have to talk about that, quantifying your experiences. So not just putting everything you ever did on the resume, but truly carefully selecting the best. Like your resume is the highlight reel, right? Just like we say, Instagram is the best moments of our lives, or Facebook or social media is the highlights. That's what you need to be showing the job. Here are the best things I've done, my most significant accomplishments here on this 1-page piece of paper. You have to have me, or you have to at least talk to me based on what you see here. So knowing how to really beef up your experience section with accomplishments, not just copying and pasting the job description, because the job description is what they asked you to do. But what you want on your resume is what you actually did. What would not have been done if you weren't there? What impact did you have? What sales did you make? How much money did you contribute to? How many hours did you spend? How many hours did you save? So making sure that when you are looking for jobs, your materials truly and accurately represent the work that you've done and what you bring to the table. Because you're competing, especially right now where a lot of people are furloughed, laid off, don't have jobs. You're competing with tons of other people. And if you know you have the skills, you know you have the experiences that's really going to make you an asset to that company, you have to make sure that your materials reflect that.
So I have a question.
Sure.
I'm one of those people who have a hard time communicating my accomplishments. So what do you do? Because you say put the accomplishments on the resume. What do you do when you have a hard time doing that?
So number one is that you can do it continuously. So once a month, you can say, okay, well, what have I done this month? It's a lot harder, even if you're just humble pie like you, but it's a lot harder to think, okay, for the last 3 years, what have I done? Versus, oh, okay, since in the last month, in the last couple of weeks, what did I do that was significant? What feedback have I received from either my employer, my supervisor, my manager, my peers? What have I done well? So thinking about what have you spent the most time doing? Usually if you spend 4 weeks on a project, there's some deliverable, there's some results or some outcome from that. Take a second to write those down. I keep a calendar reminder once a month for me to like review my things so I can update my resume. And even if I just put it on a list or put it in a draft email, I'm saying like, oh, I just got on this committee. Let me go add that. Okay, I finished this big project and I know this had an impact. Let me add that. So that way I'm keeping like a running tab or a running list always of everything that I'm doing. So things, to your question, Kamari, accomplishments are things that you receive positive feedback on, things that you know you did well. You know when you do your best and you know when you don't. So thinking about who you impacted and how, right? So you do a show every week for 100 live viewers and thousands of viewers afterwards. And you have impacted them because people have gotten jobs, people have bought houses, people have got the information, or maybe 90% of your audience has saved at least $10 more than before they started watching you.
But you know what? That's a great example, right? Because I would never think to put this show on my resume. Matter of fact, none of my media stuff is on my resume. So when I get called to do television and radio and podcast interviews, a lot of times I don't put it. Well, to be honest, I don't know the last time I've done a resume. Every time somebody asks me for a resume or for a, what's the other thing that it's called? A bio. Oh. No, not CV. CV's big time. That's real big time. I ain't there yet. I probably could do one, but oh Lord. But even for a bio, it's like, I don't have a bio. And then I have one, but it's not the best. I just put that out there right now. It's not the best. And so, I would need to think about what to put on my bio, what to put on my resume. So I always have issues with that. But you gave me some good gems there.
Well, and you should create a media resume. So another thing, and why people don't need 8-page resumes, you can have resumes tailored to different things. So Kamara, you might have your finance resume that has all of your financial accomplishments, but you may also and can create a separate, more jazzy, snazzy media resume. That one might have all of your radio, television appearances, podcasts, the shows that you actually do, as well as the ones that you've been a guest on. And then that looks so impressive. If you give them this one page of, wow, all these places think I'm credible enough to speak, of course you have to have me on your show. You know, that's what you can say to Oprah one day or whoever has a show at the time.
Oh, you were over here prophesizing over my prosperity. I love it.
Listen.
I love it. Okay, so listen, I got a question for everybody, right? Because I think a lot of people actually suffer with that, with not knowing what your accomplishments are or what to put them down or how to put them down, right? How to properly phrase them. So do me a favor, do us a favor. Let's make this fun. Share an accomplishment that you had in the last 30 days or 2 months that was impactful. What was it again? What should an accomplishment be that you put on your resume, Jasmine?
So you're thinking of who it impacted or how it impacted whatever situation you're thinking of. Yeah. What was the impact?
So put that in the chat, and then I'm going to put Jazz on the spot right now. We're going to have her look at those and say, that's a good one or that's not a good one, and go back and work on it again. Are you up for that, or did I put you on the spot?
No, I'm ready. I do this.
I love the confidence. And listen, when y'all do get in the interview room, make sure you bring that same type of confidence that Jasmine just showed you.
Yes. And I have the question. So who did you help? What did you do? How did you do it? And what was the impact? So who did you help? What did you do? How did you do it? And what was the impact? Oh.
Okay. So Ms. Edith says no support, no policies due to COVID. Policies are created by the minute. Yeah, I can see how that's very frustrating. Tiffany says sometimes a job change is more for mental, not financial. Absolutely.
Right.
Tell the truth and shame the devil. Ms. Edith says, I just want to do the job, help people, and be happy. I think it is possible. I will keep looking. And I'll say this too. A lot of times we get stuck with kind of looking for the same job. And you're like, well, what else could I do? But remember, oftentimes skills are transferable. Mm-hmm. So you don't always have to do the same exact job title when you're looking for a new job. Angela says, thank you so much. I know that's from Miss Jasmine.
Very welcome.
My man, Michael Dennis, how are you, sir? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thanks for the site info, Tiffany says. All right, now listen, let's not keep Jasmine a secret either, y'all. Y'all share her information out there.
Thank you.
Sharing is caring. All right, so, okay, either pound cake, banana pudding, red velvet, we can DM.
Okay.
Kamara, I was trying my networking segment. Yeah, you got it, Angela. You know I was only joking, right? Y'all know I got jokes. Y'all know I'm a wannabe comedian. So remember, listen, put your accomplishments in, something you have done and you have done in the last 2 months. Yeah, cover letter is a rough one for me too. Hold on, I wanted to get to this real quick. Michael, you know what? That's a good point. I haven't published on Seeking Alpha. I haven't done one in a while, but you are correct. So Seeking Alpha is an investment website that a lot of people use for investment research. You are correct. So Michael, you out here Googling me, seeing if I'm official, huh? I don't mind. That's what you're supposed to do. So Ms. Edith says, so we should have a bio. I guess so. What is included in the bio? That's a great question. Clearly, I don't know because I never do them. That's why I got Jasmine here.
And I will help you. I was going to offer you off camera, but I will help you write a bio if you need to. Go ahead.
So no, what should be in a bio?
So to Miss Edith's first question, should we have a bio? I think it might be nice for everyone to have a bio, but people like Kamari and I need them because we're going to be speaking to different places. They need a quick summary of who you are, if you're going to be featured somewhere or honored for some award. But the average person may not actually use their bio too often. But if you are like in a phase where you're building something where people need your information quickly, it's great to have a bio. And typically, Your bio is going to be like 1 to 2 paragraphs. It's going to start with something about your name, where you're from, what you do, if you have education credentials or degrees in there, or whatever accomplishments, maybe like 1 or 2 accomplishments that you've done. And then I like to end my bio with a quote that which governs my life. It's kind of my life's mantra. But some people will end with, Miss Edith is a such and such and such and has done such and has this and that and is a mother of 3 kids and lives in New York. Like you may have some human or some kind of personal touch at the end of your bio. But typically it's going to be like 8 sentences, if that, 4 to 5, 8 sentences max. It's not very long. And even if you Google how to write a bio, there are articles that will walk you through each line by line. So it's not super difficult. Everyone doesn't necessarily need one. It is a good practice, though, to have one prepared, because you never know who might honor you or what you might be applying for where you need a bio.
Gotcha. All right, another question for you. Jasmine, do you have suggestions for career assessments? I want to switch careers and have multiple interests. That's a great question.
Sure. So there are a ton of career assessments out there. Some of them have a cost. So I used to work in the Career Center at the University of Minnesota, and we used to do the Myers-Briggs, because it would show you kind of your personality type. And then from there, you could look for jobs for people with that personality type. But there was a cost to it. So I think one way is to Google and to see, how much you want to invest in it if you want to, or to Google free career assessments. But my personal assessment, which is what I do, is a Venn diagram of 3 circles. And it's, what am I good at? What do I enjoy doing? And what can I get paid for? So when you think about your multiple interests, right, think about the different bubbles that they would fit into. Is it something that you like and you're good at, but you won't really get paid for it, right? So I like to dance. I'm good at dancing, but no one's going to pay me in the career path that I'm on to dance, right? But writing, for example, I can get paid to do it and I'm good at it, but I don't enjoy it. So sitting down and taking some time to reflect and to think about, of your interests, which do you love enough that you could do it for 40 plus hours a week and wouldn't get tired of it? Which do you love and they're hiring right now, right? And which do you love and they're hiring and you're really good at it and can break into an industry that you may not have a background in? So I would definitely take some time to do your own kind of personal assessment and think about what energizes you, what drains you, right? Of those interests, what are the specific elements that you like? So even to Kamari's point, some people are really good. Kamari's great with the finance pieces. He's also working on the marketing pieces, but he may not like promoting himself. He doesn't like the marketing pieces, some of those marketing pieces. He's not good at those ones, but he's good at everything else. So think about, you don't like to talk about yourself and promote yourself, but you're good at the content, right? What you do is strong, you're solid in your field. So think about what elements excite you. And so in terms of all your interests, if you lay them out on the table, which ones are most viable at this time? And that may shift, because what you're good at and what you like right now, what you could get paid for right now, may be different than what's going to happen even in 6 months or in 2 years, right? So I think that you can do your own personal assessment, but there are also ways to Google paid career assessments or free career assessments online as well, or go to a career center or work. There's workforce centers and things like that, or a career professional, a career coach may be able to kind of walk you through and guide you through some of those things as well.
That was awesome. So real quick, I just wanted, before I forget, I promised I would bring up the proctors or the jobs for proctors on Indeed.com. And it seems like there's a good number of jobs being a proctor. So in Scranton, they have test administrators, which is basically a proctor. Test administrators in Bluebell, working for Pearson. I believe Pearson is like an educational company. So it looks like Pearson, part-time remote proctors at Penn State. That could be one of those good university jobs. Not sure about this office associate. We have testing proctor at Brandywine Learning Center. State testing specialist, test proctor. So I'm in the Philadelphia area, and this is what it gave me. Well, we know oil and gas labor isn't a proctor. So maybe it's just some other things, but I believe Rhonda asked that, but I just wanted to put that up before I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. It looks like we got. All right, y'all. Don't forget to put your accomplishments in there. I'm asking because it's a good exercise, but I'm also nosy, so I want to see what you're about.
Listen, this is networking. Tell Kamari what you do. Kamari might put you on to somebody else and somebody else and somebody else.
That actually happens a lot. I like connecting the dots with folks. I get joy out of that.
It's happened for me. I'm real life. I'm a real life testimony. And I found you through Instagram at first.
You found me on Instagram?
Yes, I started following the Finance Rebel.
One day, I'll tell the story about when I first talked to Jasmine. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. She is a networker. She knows how to butter the biscuits.
Oh, God. Different terminology, please.
Okay, all right. Listen, I'm older, right? So I didn't mean it the way it sounds. She knows how to make a person blush. She knows how to start a conversation. But listen, it wasn't fake. She's like this every time I talk to her.
It's true. Right?
Now, so I'm from Philly. Everybody listen. In Philly, we throw snowballs at Santa Claus, y'all. So yeah, sorry. It is what it is, right? So I'll tell the story. So Jasmine had been following me. I think she DM'd me. We set up a call and she said, "Hey, it's great to talk to you. You're like Will Smith." And I'm like, "What?" Because I get so many people that got an angle, right? And so my guard is up a lot of times. And depending on what happened that day, I might have not had my coffee or I might not have had enough coffee that day. Caffeine addictions are terrible, but we'll talk about that at another time. But she was like, "Hey, you're like the Will Smith because you know everybody. It seems like you know everybody in Philly." And people do feel like I'm a pretty good networker. And I know a lot of people in Philly because the running joke is one of my buddies says, "Kamari, you know so many people in Philly, but you never go out." A lot of people don't know I'm actually an introvert, but that's a whole other, again, conversation. But anyway, she charmed me because she was like, "Yeah, like you know a lot of people and you were always being inspirational and you're helping folks." So I kind of liken that to Will Smith. I was like, okay. And I thought it was BS at first. I did. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was BS. But then I got to know Jasmine a little bit better. And like I said, like she's always happy, she's always cheerful, at least from the times I've seen her and talked to her. When you look at her IG and some of the other stuff that I've seen of her, like she's always in a great mood. So she's real. But again, it was a great icebreaker and I remembered it. So even if it was intentional, right? Let's just go with the fact that it was intentional. It was a great icebreaker and I remembered it, that I can tell that story. So don't be afraid to, flatter the person that you're calling. Don't do it where it gets weird though. So, because sometimes I've seen people do weird stuff and it just doesn't work. So, all right, we got that one. So let's get to some of these achievements. Listen, I'm one of those people that when I see people winning, I get happy.
Yes.
So Miss Tiffany says, "I moved up in rank in my current position, 105 in the company." Yay. All right, Miss Tiffany, you got a couple dollars now. Holla at your boy.
Wait, can I go back to that real quick?
Yeah.
Tiffany's. I really like that 1 of 5. When I talk about quantified impact, I'm talking about using numbers. So it's one thing if Tiffany would have said, "I moved up rank in my position," then we would have said, "Oh, cool." But when she added the 1 in 5, that lets us know scale. Wow, so they wasn't just promoting everybody, right? That tells us that 1 in 5, she has some special skills to be one of those 5 of however many people are in the company. Now it means something because she added those numbers. So I just want to point out that that's important.
Would it matter if they listed the amount of people in the company as well, or?
I mean, 1 in 5 gives us enough, but if we really to say, 1 of 5 people in our 2,000 person company or something, that would really show us, wow, only 5 people, and then you were one of those 5 out of 2,000. That really even makes it even more poignant there.
Right. Rhonda Cox says, "I have become I'm certified in field services." What does that mean, Rhonda? In field, what kind of field services? This is my newsy gene coming out right now. But congratulations, Rhonda. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And listen, I guess I am guilty, right? Because we all should celebrate our accomplishments and acknowledge them and take the time, even if it's just a moment, to acknowledge our accomplishments. A lot of times we are so busy in the hustle and bustle. And again, I am very much guilty of that we don't take time to smell the roses. And I know That is very cliche, but I also think it's real because roses actually smell pretty good when they're fresh cut. When they get old, not so much.
Right.
So, all right. So Michael said, no, that was from a conversation. Yeah, you're right. I forgot how we got on that conversation, Michael. But Michael was talking about an article or articles I wrote for Seeking Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
So Sharita Allen, Sharita, welcome. I don't think we've ever met before, but welcome. Glad you're here. Presented a seminar for preparing and successfully starting college geared to its first generation college students. The goal being not to fall prey to the freshman year curse. That's awesome, Sharita.
Right.
Are you like a college recruiter or in educational services somehow? But that's awesome.
Can I point out on this one? Let's say Sharita. Sorry, I'm not sure how to exactly pronounce it.
Yes, Sharita. Please correct me if I said your name wrong. I do not like saying people's names wrong.
Absolutely. So in this sentence here, we have presented a seminar. So that's the what, and then the who is really important. And she didn't just say college students, but it was first generation college students, which lets us know that it specifically had an impact because those are folks who have not yet been to college. They sometimes need some additional support or resources to get through college. So it tells us more information. The only thing I would maybe add is the number. So geared toward 10 first generation college students or geared toward 200, like how big, what was the attendance level of that seminar would even add a little bit more impact to that sentence, but it was great.
Okay. Angela says, great show, Jasmine. Yes, great show, Jasmine. I'm not here. All right. So Ms. Edith says, I help New York City students and school staff. I support schools on COVID-19. The impact is preventing students from becoming symptomatic and sick from not adhering to COVID prevention methods. Oh, like the guy in the White House. Yeah, he didn't follow any of those.
Who? What did you say?
The guy in the White House. The orange Cheeto head Hitler fan in the White House.
Got you. Okay, let me add up to this. When Ms. Edith says I support schools on COVID-19, I would just love to maybe know exactly what your role is. I get the impact and I get the who, but how are you doing that? Is it are you creating the rules? Are you putting up barriers so that they don't touch each other? Like, what are you actually doing to support them in relation to COVID-19?
My pleasure. I think she was talking to you though. I'm not here, guys.
Our pleasure.
Thank you. Edith though. Yeah, see, so these are my people, right? They know I like old school sayings, y'all. So I say vittles.
What is vittles? What does that mean?
Oh, come on, it's food. It's what Southern folks would say. They fixing to eat some food.
Oh, okay. That's
all. Like I like sayings like Lord willing the creek don't rise. Like I love all that old school stuff.
How old are you again? Okay, just checking.
See,
I just was asking a question.
There's the age shade. Honey, I had to work for that. I worked for Spectrum Charter in the business building department. Okay. Congratulations again, Tiffany. Commercial and residential property inspection and prevention. Gotcha.
That's the field services.
All right. Sharetta. Okay, cool. Glad I got it right. Sometimes, man, I be doing a bad job. So Angela says, I have been a birth to age 5 preschool teacher. Okay. How do you do that though? That's hard. Like babies fresh out. That's
fresh out.
Listen, I'm freshly born, out born, like
newborn.
Yeah, but newborn doesn't. So newborn can be anything between like 0 and like 6 months. She said, you know what? Let me just read it. I'm sorry, y'all. I have been a birth to age 5 preschool teacher, family services coordinator, family advocate, director of a large child care facility, and I am a CBD distributor. Okay, an independent Mary Kay consultant, entrepreneur, as degree in early childhood education. Okay,
doing a lot. All those streams of income.
Yes. You got one for that. That's her accomplishment. That's what she's been doing.
Well, that's a lot of different things. We would, if this was going to be on a resume, we would need to have a separate section for the Mary Kay. Her AS degree would be there, and then the teacher, family service coordinator, family advocate, director. All of those things are separate elements on a resume. So we need to have bullet points for each of those.
Okay, all right.
But those are great accomplishments in general that would all go on a resume.
Okay, so Angela says she has a list of whys. Okay. Edith says I couldn't type everything for your 3 questions. All right, cool. I train staff. I provide. Okay. I train staff. I provided updated guidance and protocol, and support the schools in all things health compliance. So you're a health compliance officer. Adrian Anderson says I haven't seen you in a month of Sundays. Yes, that's another old school saying. Yes, it is. Y'all got my vibe. All right, 6 weeks. Okay, so you're newborn up to 6 weeks. Okay. All right. Who else has more accomplishments? But as we've gone through so far, it looks like people have some great accomplishments. So that's awesome.
Yes.
That is awesome. So I don't know if you answered this directly, but what exactly is the purpose of a resume, Jasmine?
The purpose of a resume is to get you an interview.
So it's not to get a job.
Nope.
It's to get the interview.
It's to get an interview. It's to get your foot in the door so that you can shine and show them why you should get the job in the interview.
And so that's like the first thing you do. It's kind of like, and I don't know if this is a good or bad analogy. I've been bombing on analogies tonight. But it's almost like the bait on a hook when you go fishing.
Absolutely.
Just enough to give them the meat to get interested and say, hey, this person looks interesting. I want to bring them in.
Yeah.
So is there anything on a resume that you shouldn't put or that could potentially disqualify you from a search or being, potentially not getting the interview?
Yes. So one thing is that I don't recommend is adding a picture. Sometimes people feel like they should put a photo of themselves on there, and unless it's a media resume and like you're selling like yourself as a personality or something like that, I don't recommend pictures because there's a lot of conscious and unconscious bias out there. And as soon as someone looks at a picture, they generally form an impression. That's just how our brains work. They're gonna look. They might be able to sum your race, your ethnicity, your age, right? Whether or not they think you're qualified for the position, even based on your haircut or the type of hairstyle you have. And especially coming from Black and brown communities where there are already a number of barriers there that we may or may not even know about, or that even the recruiter or the person reading it may or may not acknowledge that they have biases. I would just take it off all the way. And I would just keep it black and white, keep the information, let your experience speak for itself. And don't worry about things like photos or having a whole lot of color on your resume. Like, all of that is secondary to actually having your experiences that are quantified that explain why you're the person for the job. So in terms of your question, something not to put on there, that's number one for me. Number two is extraneous information. Don't put every job you've ever had on your resume. Usually you might want to go back, depending on what your experience, but maybe the last 10 years or so. If you have had a storied career or you've been in like one job for a long time, then you might want to add some more to fill up the page, but not going back super, super far. We don't need to know that you worked at Marshall's when you were a teenager, if you're now 50 years old. Like, we want your most recent and your most relevant experiences, and those things need to be at the top of the page. So save the bottom for stuff that's kind of secondary, but the top of the page should be your most recent, most relevant experience that's going to capture their attention right away. Because if they're spending 6 seconds, 6 seconds is not a lot of time. They need to see, okay, do you have this, this, and this? Boom, yes pile or no pile, that sort of thing.
But what if you want to demonstrate your customer service experience and you worked there when you're a teenager, but now you're like much older? How would you go about doing that?
So if the job that you're looking for, first of all, wants that customer service, so don't make sure that you're highlighting skills that directly correlate to the job description. So if one of the requirements for the job is customer service experience, the way that you can move things up on your resume and higher on the page is by creating their own section. So instead of just having your work experience and then listing job 1, job 2, job 3, you can say, right under your name and your heading, you can have customer service experience. List that one position. And then the next one is whatever, teaching experience or communication experience, leadership experience, however you want to categorize the rest of your experience. But you can create separate sections, and then it also helps draw the eye. So it's not just somebody looking at this long list of bullets, right? You're segmenting it so it's even visually and aesthetically more pleasing, because now you have sections: category 1, category 2, category 3.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Now, should people, especially the ladies, potentially use like initials as their name on a resume, or no? What do you think?
Well, here's the thing. Sometimes people, so first of all, there is a lot of bias where people will have names that sound a certain way, or people favor men in certain positions. So you could put your letters there. That's something. I'm not going to go against that, because I think you should do whatever you think gives you the best shot. And so if that's initials, that's fine. But I will say that once you're invited or once you apply, you're going to have to use your full name, and you're going to have to use probably your government name on those application materials, because they're going to like legally check or do a background check or whatever the position is. So it's not that they will never find out your name, but in terms of at least catching their attention, I don't think it's a terrible idea to use initials. But it also could seem like you're hiding something, or like, depending on how you're doing it, it could be interpreted a little bit differently. But it's do whatever you feel would give you the best shot in terms of how you display your name.
Gotcha. And I'm guessing that like social media tags or handles shouldn't be used. Like if I had a handle like Buttered Biscuits 1025, I probably shouldn't use that for a resume, correct?
Not unless it's a media resume and you're marketing yourself and you want everybody to go to your Instagram. But typically, no, you should leave all social media off of it. You should have a very professional email address. So first name, period, last name, whatever kind of combination of your name, but nothing else besides your name. Gmails are free. Make a new Gmail if you have not already done that with your name in it.
Okay.
No Butter Biscuits on Instagram.
No Butter Biscuits, but yeah, okay. All right.
But keep in mind, though, people do check your Instagram. People do check Facebook. People do check LinkedIn. So keep in mind that even if you don't list it, people can sometimes find it, and make sure that if it's not something you want people or employers to see, that you make it private, or that you clean it up in a way that's presentable or that supports your work. Because for me, like, my Instagram supports my work. It shows kind of more of my personality and who I am. I'm not putting super, super personal things on there. So I don't mind if someone who's going to hire me for a contract work or a gig looks at my Instagram. But you want to make sure you're doing the same thing, and that your social media presence matches the types of jobs that you're looking for, or is private and is not something that you're posting or displaying.
So here's a good one. A good friend of mine got a great job at a Fortune 500 company, a tech company, plenty of money. He was like, Amari, you should come work here. They've got stock options. They got food in the kitchen. They got great coffee and all the other accoutrements, right? And so we talked about it, and I said, okay. And I went on one interview, and it was okay. But then he said, you'll probably have to take down your political stances off of your social media. And I'm like, I got to do that. I was like, do you know how many political things I have on my post? That would take me all year. And then I said, all right, I'll do it. And I made it private. And I was like, I'll probably never do this job. People are looking for me. They can't find me. And I said, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
To a lot of people with that problem.
With the idea of keeping it public versus private.
Yeah.
Most of my friends aren't speaking out politically like you are in the same way. But you are a public figure, so that's kind of, people are drawn to you for your personality. You have a show, you do those things. So that makes sense for who you are. But I do think it is a balance of public versus private. Do I want everyone to be able to see everything, and do I not? So sometimes people will have two accounts. You might have a public figure or a public Instagram, and then also a personal one where you kind of say all the things or share the memes or the things that may not be work appropriate. So it is a decision that you have to make. Everybody has to make for them. What image do you want to portray to the world, or what image do you want your future employer to have to you? And also, I will say too, it's a matter of where you want to work. Do you want to work at an organization that doesn't support your political views, or doesn't support you expressing your political views? And maybe that's a yes, and maybe that's a no, but you already know corporate life may not be for you. So maybe that's not the place where you want to shift and change your image to be, right? So, but people have to think about kind of, do I want to work somewhere that doesn't allow XYZ or doesn't support XYZ? That's a question of values alignment with the organization.
So it's funny, right? I probably only had one job that I liked, and that was when I was doing institutional money management. And it was a whole story of how I even got there because I had to get fired to get there. And I'll tell that story another time. It wasn't my fault though, why I got fired.
Okay.
I'll tell the story real quick. I worked for a boss. So I worked for I was working for a financial planning firm under a national life insurance company, and they were doing this Black Initiative, right? And so what happened was the Black Initiative was its own company, and one of the partners in that initiative wound up buying another company, right? And so the powers that be at the insurance company didn't like the fact that this man went out and brought another company, even though he kind of displayed it and told it. But since I worked with him and worked underneath him, I got fired because of his actions.
Okay.
Is that an EEOC claim? Am I late that I filed it?
I'm not speaking on that.
But at any rate, the guy who brought the company wound up giving me a job and taking me along after I got fired. So it wound up working out, but I still find it utterly hilarious that I got fired because of somebody else's actions. So it's like, when they clear out, for example, in politics, right? Every time that a new administration comes through, everybody goes for the most part. Some people might get kept behind, but for the most part, everybody goes. So, I kind of experienced that same thing.
And that's another point of watch who you are associated with and make sure that if they you're associated with good people. And for your case, you may not have known of his actions, but you suffered the ramifications of it. And then he gave you a job, right? So he was able to help you. So it wasn't a problem that you were aligned with him. But I do think it's a matter of keeping an eye on who we keep around us, who is associated with you by name or otherwise, because you may get the benefit or the disadvantage of being associated with certain people. We talked about scammers, Kamari. Like if your best friend is known to be a scammer, what do people automatically think about you? You're a scammer too. If your best friend is wealthy and a real estate investor, what do they think about you? Oh, you're probably a real estate investor too. Like you get associated that way. So you want to make sure it's working to your benefit.
Birds of a feather flock together. I get
Absolutely. And they say what your income is the average of your 5 closest friends.
Yes.
So watch who you're associated with and be associated with good people.
Yeah. So Sharetta Allen says, no harm to anyone, but I think I am about to change my professional name. I think my first name makes me susceptible to unconscious bias. Yeah, I get it. It's funny. There's been times when I put my name on resumes and I didn't get a call back. And somebody on the inside told me that it was a case of unconscious bias. So what do you think about that?
I think it's sad that it's even a thing, but I do think Sharetta should do what she thinks she should, right? And if you want to change your name or you use a different name, professionally, and then other people who know you as Sharetta call you Sharetta, I don't think it's something that we should have to do. Let me just first of all say it's discriminatory, and it should not be the case that people see a name that they think belongs to a person of African American descent, and now they can't get the job. It shouldn't be the case. But I think doing what puts you in the position to get the jobs that you want is the best idea. Whatever you feel comfortable with. And there's some people who are like, nope, here's my name, and you're going to call me by this name. You're going to pronounce it right every single time. And that's the kind of organization they want to work for. So it's all about kind of each person's their comfort level with it.
Gotcha. So Angela says, do me baby at outlook.com. Angela got jokes, y'all. I'm with it. She with it, y'all. She with it. All right. I received so many of these emails to contact when I need to hire a teacher. Wow. That's interesting. This is why I work for myself. Hey, Latoya, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. So listen, I know we've been talking for a while, everybody. Remember, this is the Finance Rebel Show. On Wednesdays, every Wednesday at 8 p.m., we do the Wealthy Wednesdays, where I answer money questions live. And I answer money questions live, any questions that you might have. Tonight, we're talking with Jasmine Omorogbe, and we're talking about getting a better career, getting a better job, sprucing up your resume, why you might need a bio. And so any questions you might have, we're going to begin to wrap up soon. I need my vittles. Y'all know that. Lord willing, the creek don't rise. And so I'm getting hungry. It's getting to that point, y'all. So, but We'll take 3 more questions if anybody has one. I know I saw one question from Miss Edith that I think would be a very good question to get the party started. Miss Edith asked, hey, Melody Alton, by the way, Miss Edith asked, cover letter, what is it for? Should we use it? There we go.
Yes. You absolutely, well, let me say, not absolutely. Some industries rely more on cover letters than others. So tech cover letters are no longer a big thing. I think they say about 20% of people are going to submit them in the tech world, whereas maybe in education or in other fields, they're going to be super important. The purpose of a cover letter is to add some personality to your resume. If you think of your resume as kind of the bare bones, here's what I did, here's where I did it. It's all the past. The cover letter is really where you're going to come alive and you're going to say, okay, I want to be a teacher because I used to live in the neighborhood in the Bronx and I'm a perfect fit for this because I have this accomplishment and that accomplishment. So you're really going to highlight some of the things on your resume, but you're not just going to list your accomplishments in the same way. So the cover letter is why should you hire me specifically, as opposed to someone who has the exact same credentials on their resume. Here's the reason why I am the person for this job. So typically, let me go over the format because I have that here really easily. Your first paragraph is usually about 4 paragraphs. So paragraph 1 is going to include the position, the organization, how you found out about the job. So, hey, I'd love to be a paper specialist at paper company. And I found out about it through my friend who already works there as a project manager. Right? You're going to talk about kind of why you're interested in the position. So this position, this XYZ position piqued my interest because I have a strong interest in paper or whatever it's going to be. So paragraph 1 is kind of the who are you, the what the job is, and why you're interested in the job. Paragraph 2 and 3 are combined. So what you're going to do there is you're going to demonstrate your skills and experiences. So I know people mentioned on the call, I forgot the name of the person, but like working with kids ages from 6 weeks to 5 or whatever else. So in that second and third paragraph, that person could say, I love working with kids. Here's why, or the kids that I've worked with, they have exceeded their expectations in this way and that way. You're really able to kind of pull out an example and give a little bit more context to the story. So if you're a teacher, hey, I've taught 16 kids for 5 years. And one of these children went from a test score of 0 to 32 by the time I was done. Like you're really going to talk about that impact, and you can tell a little small story because we know that stories are what people remember. Stories attract people. They connect us as humans. So if in your cover letter, in your second and third paragraph, you can tell a brief story about the impact that you've had, that's going to help you go a lot further. And then paragraph 4 is just like a summary, like, I'm really interested. I'd love to chat more with you. Here's how you can contact me. So it's 4. I can share a link with you, Kamari, or I can put it in the comments after this. But there's a format guide where it just talks about each paragraph, what you should be writing. But the point is to really show them more of who you are and why you're the right person for the job. So it accompanies your resume. And people always say, well, if it's not required, should I send it? And my answer to that is, if it will set you apart, or if you don't get this job, would you feel like you did your best? Like, would you say, oh man, I should have sent the cover letter because that might have got me the interview? So if you're going to say that afterwards, then you might as well just go ahead and submit the cover letter, because it's an additional opportunity for you to take the time to show why you're outstanding, or to show what sets you apart from the pack and why you're so passionate about this field or this company. You can also demonstrate that you've done a little bit of research. So I know XYZ company is the top in the nation for sustainability, and that aligns with my personal values of keeping things green, or whatever you're going to say. But it's another chance for you to shine. So I would typically recommend doing one, even if it's not required, because why would you miss out on that opportunity?
So basically anything that puts you in a better light, gives you a competitive advantage, you feel you should do it regardless. That's the other reason why I don't like applying for jobs, because writing the cover letter, oh Lord.
But once you get the format down, what the job is, why you want it, why you're a good fit, call me, goodbye. Like that's the format. So once you get that down, it doesn't become as hard. Or if you're applying for jobs that are in generally the same field, it's not like you're starting from scratch every single time you write it. You're going to have down why you want to be in XYZ field. So I know that it's another step, but once you get in the habit of it and the practice of it, it becomes like second nature. You just change the names.
Come Or just give me the job so I can get the paycheck. Come on.
Well, unfortunately, there are thousands of other people who want that same job and that same paycheck. So
That's true.
why you?
That's right. So Sharetta Allen says the C-suite team often gets cleared out or brought along when the CEO, CFO, etc. moves. You are correct. Bingo. All right, Miss Edith says my mom legally changed her name. Grandma was heated. Right, education you asked for, so y'all asked for a cover letter. Okay. Makes sense. Well, listen, y'all got like $1 billion worth of game tonight. You all should be using this. Hopefully y'all will use this. All right. Or at least have somebody else watch this so they can use it. We've got plenty of examples, hands-on stuff that people can really walk through and do right there. And if you can't do that, reach out to Jasmine. Here's her website, www.jasmine, which is JasmineOMO.com. All right. And Jasmine truly is a lovely and delightful spirit. So I'm sure she's willing to help any and all comers that may come. Last question that I didn't ask, right? Now that it's COVID, or we are in this COVID era, do you think getting jobs will become easier once we get out of this? Or do you think we are permanently in this kind of virtual remote worker field?
I think that we're not permanently in this virtual state, but I think a lot of things are going to shift so there will be a lot more remote and virtual, because we've seen companies that are saying, Twitter, I think maybe Microsoft said that they're going to allow their employees to work from home permanently, right? And not everyone may choose that, because not everyone is having a great time working from home, especially we have children in the house, you have a setup that's not, ergonomically supportive of your home office, that sort of thing. But I do think in the future, the way of the world is getting more and more technologically based. So people will be able to work remote and work from home. But I do think that there's some value in having people in an office, in the same space, all those sorts of things. There's some synergy that comes, especially with specific roles where you're working as a team a lot. It's a little bit harder to connect or to do that over a virtual space than it is if everyone's in the same place. So I'm thinking like software engineers or developers, it's helpful for them to be in the same place. So I think that, I'm not sure, I can't speak on how long the COVID era is going to be. Hopefully there is a post-COVID era. But I do think for right now, people investing in becoming more tech savvy, being able to work from home, having the microphone or the cameras that are needed to be able to do good work and be communicated with at home is going to be super important.
Okay. All right. Well, I see a couple other comments and questions. And here, let's get to those real quick. And we'll begin to wrap up. Remember, y'all, I'm going to share something with y'all at the end. I work as an HR specialist. Cover letters are funny. They are only significant if addresses experience associated with the vacancy. Got it. Oh, that's blank. Miss Edith says thankful and grateful. And Adrian says, is there anything that should be done differently during a virtual interview?
Sure. So I welcome Melody as an HR specialist to comment in the comments as well. But virtual interviews are a little bit different because you don't have the person's energy or you can't see all of their body language. You can see them from the chest up. So one thing that's very important is making sure that you look at the camera. I see you, Kamari, looking at the camera in a virtual interview. So if I'm looking at the camera, it's kind of odd. We're not used to kind of talking to a wall or talking to the camera, but it will make the person who's looking at you feel like you're talking directly to them. So things like making sure, of course, that your background, whatever's going to be in the background, is suitable and something that you would like people to see. Or if not, using a virtual background is going to be important. Watching your body language, like if you're slumped, it gives a different view than if you are sitting down. So making sure whatever is in the frame, either whether it's like, hair, makeup, the way you look, whatever you kind of shirt and things that you wear, making sure that that's presentable, what you would do in an interview as well, but just paying special attention because the focus is now going to be on your face and on your chest up, that sort of thing. So other things would be making sure that you test the audio. I've seen people make very bad impressions because they don't know how to take themselves off of mute, or their camera is all blurry and fuzzy and it looks like you don't know what you're doing. So testing the tech beforehand, whether you practice with a friend or a family member beforehand, make sure that they can hear you and see you very well. But the benefit, I will say, one thing that you don't get in an actual interview is that you can have notes, right? So underneath here, here's a book, for example. I can have this that has my experience or whatever tips or things I want to remember. And the person who I'm talking to will never know. And even if it's just a comfort thing of like, okay, I prepared for this interview, I have this here, I feel more comfortable and prepared than I would maybe in an interview where they could see everything that's in my space. Or I can also fidget. If you're kind of a nervous person, you can tap your foot. You can be doing this with your hands. You can play with a paper clip. Whereas in a regular interview, you wouldn't have that comfort to be there. So there are some advantages. There are some disadvantages. Looking at the camera is the big thing. And then being able to be seen and heard are other big things. And then just being well prepared and knowing that you get that kind of 20 minutes or 30 minutes, being there on time, all the same things as a regular interview too.
That's great stuff. Thank you. So I know if I ever decide to do a job interview, I probably should take my banner down and make sure that I look in the camera, which I try to do often. That's great stuff. Listen, y'all, again, $1 billion worth of game. Please don't forget it. Share Jasmine, share with some of your friends, share the show with some of your friends, people who are looking for jobs, people who need help, people who are just looking for a little bit of extra guidance. But as promised, like I said, I did something. I have an accomplishment that I could probably put on my resume or my bio or my cover letter. So today, I think I told you guys that I took the 3 tests that I had to take to become an enrolled agent, and I passed all those tests. But there's a process of it, right? And I'll tell you what an enrolled agent is shortly. But there's a process to it. I also had to get approved by the IRS. So the IRS was going a little slow. And so I called the IRS yesterday and I said, hey, have I been approved yet to become an enrolled agent? And they said, yes, you are now an enrolled agent. They gave me my number. And so my card should be in the mail. So officially I can put on my title, Kamari Ellis, EA. So I got some more alphabet. Well, not alphabet, but I got a alphabet behind my name now. So it's always good. But what does an enrolled agent do? An enrolled agent is appointed by the IRS to represent their clients before the IRS. And I can represent clients throughout all 50 states. So basically, in layman's terms, I help people get rid of their tax debt or help them solve their tax problems. That's basically what I do. And when you look at overall, right, there's basically 3 types of tax professionals. You have your tax attorneys, you have your CPAs or accountants, and you have EAs. Those are like the 3 major credentials around tax pros. Right. Typically, your tax attorney knows all areas of law. Your CPA kind of knows all areas of accounting, right? Figuring out how to classify different things in business. And your EA really is kind of the master of tax, kind of, right? They're all masters in their own right. But EA is appointed by the IRS, while the lawyers and accountants are CPAs CPAs and attorneys are appointed by the state. That's where they get the designations from. So state for the bar is an attorney. State for CPA is it's like AICPA for the state. I can't remember the exact name for each state. So I will continue to help more people fix their tax debt. You all have probably heard that commercial before. If you've got $10,000 in outstanding tax debt, we can enroll you in our Fresh Start initiative. A lot of it's BS. A lot of people are getting ripped off. So I can kind of expand my advocacy with helping clients and getting paid for it, obviously, but not ripping them off, making sure they get their values worth in this area too. So that's my good news, folks. That's my good news.
Congratulations. I'm sure everyone on the call would like to congratulate you. That's awesome.
Yes, it is. It is. I'm not a big alphabet soup kind of guy. Like, I probably should have taken all kinds of stuff over the years. I just never did it because I don't know. Maybe I was just being lazy. I don't know what to call it, but I didn't do it. And I probably should have, because I probably could have made more money over the years. But again, I'm the guy who's not really impressed by the alphabet soup, as I like to call it a lot of times. But listen, I got it done. It's done. And so here we are now.
Yes, you earned it and you worked hard for it. So acknowledge
that. I did. I pulled out more hair from the top of my head. I don't have it. So don't laugh at me, Jasmine. It's hard out here on these bald head streets. But no, in all seriousness, again, thank you all for the congratulations. But as we begin to wrap up the show, listen, I am doing something a little bit different now. So I've created a community, a text community, where I'm communicating with people, my audience, my friends, family who all want to hear from me on an ongoing basis. So do me a favor, if you like the content that we put out every week, several times a week, and you want to get notifications about it, you want to hear some of my thoughts that I have, because I have thoughts oftentimes in the middle of the day that I might not necessarily broadcast out, but I will share in the group, whether it be investment thoughts, tax thoughts, whatever it be. I'm going to put them here. So do me a favor, text REBEL to 215-974-0058. Again, 215-974-0058. After like the first 3 texts, it's actually me texting. So it's not some strange person over in Bangladesh or Pakistan. It's actually me. And so you get to communicate with me one-on-one and also kind of in a group text fashion as well. Don't worry, I don't spam. I might send at max 1 to 2 texts a day, but oftentimes it's not that many. But do me a favor again, text me now, 215-974-0058. All right, everybody. I appreciate everyone for being here. I appreciate all the congratulations. Did it, Rhonda? Oh, you know what, Rhonda? I forgot you were a tax pro. No, I did not use Glim. I forgot already. Passkey. I used Passkey. But listen, everybody, congratulations. Congratulations to me. Clearly I messed that up, but thank you all for being here. I'm honored that you're here. I know somebody had to get some great value from Jasmine tonight. And hopefully I will have her back. Maybe we can do something more often just to kind of keep us all ready. Because you know the saying, if you stay ready, if you stay ready, you're always ready. And I think we always need to do that. I need to have my bio done, right? She can help me with that. I probably should create a cover letter. You never know. Maybe somebody that's creating this brand new inclusion initiative wants to give me $1 billion to manage. You know, I saw some companies giving out some money to folks, and hey, I might as well be able to at least have the ability to throw my name in the ring if that opportunity ever presents itself. So again, thank you all. Appreciate you all. Thank you for the congratulations. Don't forget, have y'all been listening to the Finance Rebel Show? It's my podcast. So go ahead, just Google the Finance Rebel Show. You can take a listen. A lot of times these broadcasts will be in them, so you can listen to me on the go. You don't necessarily have to sit next to your computer or your telephone and watch them. You can now listen to them. Take me on a run, take me on a train ride, take me on a drive. But I'll see you all next time. Remember, I will be back Friday. We'll be talking about how Black businesses can get better and more media exposure. So thank you all, everybody. Everyone have a great night. I appreciate you all, and I'm so honored that you're here with me every time I broadcast. So again, thank you. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.